flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame. Keep the flame. Keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame on.
After a convincing 30-24 road win over the Seattle Seahawks that saw the Panthers run game shift into overdrive, the Panthers are back in the comforts of home as they prepare to protect the bank against the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers, who will be without regular starting quarterback Kenny Pickett due to a concussion. For a second straight week, the Panthers are eyeing the path to get to the top spot in the NFC South, and if they can keep the momentum going, the dream to possibly get to the playoffs for the first time in 5 years will remain alive. Welcome to Bank of America Stadium. I'm Joby Smith here for the Carolina Pro Football Report. Let's get things going. The last time these two teams met in the regular season was back in 2018. The Panthers were stunned by the Steelers in that lopsided 52-21 loss. The Panthers scored on the first drive, but then the Steelers turned things around and never let up. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger threw for 328 yards and 5 TDs. Antonio Brown added 8 receptions for 96 yards, including a 53-yard touchdown in the second quarter. Fast forward to 2022, the Carolina offense has been firing on all cylinders for the past 2 games, helping the team notch wins against Denver and Seattle. Dante Foreman has 187 yards on the ground in that time span and 600 yards rushing over the past 7 games to anchor that rushing attack. Chuba Hubbard has carried his share of the load with 139 yards on 31 carries. And then there's the rookie, Raheem Blackshear, who's only collected 32 yards, but had a key touchdown against Seattle to solidify that rushing attack by committee that has been a bonanza for the Panthers. Then there's Sam Darnold. Once plagued with throwing interceptions, Darnold has turned things around after making his way into the starting lineup for the first time in the 2022 season against the Broncos 2 games ago. He's been locked in. Darnold conservatively piloted the offense, going 25 of 43 for 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. The Panthers' air attack is slow because of the 92 rushing attempts over the past 2 games, but however you slice it, Carolina keeps coming up in the win column. That's something Bradley Bozeman likes to see.
It's great. Like, everyone always sees, in the first and second quarter where, you're getting a run for 2, 2.5, 3, and, everyone's like, oh, the run game's not working. But that's what you start seeing it in the third and the fourth, especially in the fourth quarter, when those 3 to 4s turn to 5 to 6 to 8s. And just continue to build and go. So it just shows that the work you've been putting in, the grind you've been doing, is really helping you succeed in the long run. So, yeah. And I think that's what that's kind of who we are. We like to run the ball. They like to stop the run. A lot of really good players up front for them. This is my 9th time playing them. I know what they're going to bring to the table. So we're gonna have to pack our lunch for sure. So it'll be a fun game.
Now, we know the Panthers' defense has been solid so far, ranked 15th in the NFL and climbing each week. Of course, they've risen in the rankings over the past couple of weeks, now tied for 12th in interceptions with 10 and 5th in interception yards with 189, thanks to C.J. Henderson and J.C. Horn. Now, this week's injury report looks pretty stellar considering we're in Week 15. Of course, as we look, not much to be concerned about on this week's report, with key starters having no injury status on Friday. Now, as we take a look at that report, the most notable, Brandon Smith, out with an ankle injury. Of course, as we look down, Corey Littleton, DJ Moore, and Laviska Shenault Jr., Xavier Woods, and Damian Wilson all were questionable. Of course, they look like they're getting ready to go. Now, this week's game hinges on special teams play. Of course, we have Kevin Casey with more.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pittsburgh comes in here in somewhat disarray. They have their quarterback Kenny Pickett in concussion protocol, Mitch Trubisky. Mason Rudolph from Rock Hill, South Carolina, played at Oklahoma State. He's been with the roster for several years. We're getting some reports that some of the Pittsburgh, some of the receivers, some of the people on the roster would like to see Mason Rudolph get some snaps. I wouldn't be surprised. Coach Tomlin has said it's good. Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph will play, so I'd look for that. Carolina, it looks to do their same formula. They want to run the ball, limit Sam Darnold in the passing game, no turnovers, just run the ball, control the clock. Pretty much the same game plan they ran against the Seattle Seahawks. So you see Pittsburgh known for defense for so long. Cam Hayward, they got Minkah Fitzpatrick, they got Deontay Johnson, Montravius Adams, Alex Highsmith. They got a roster of good guys. They're a little snake bitten. The record very similar to Carolina, and I don't think they're really in the playoff hunt. But Carolina is. If Carolina wins out, they're going to win the division and go to the playoffs. One area that a lot of people they talked about the offense versus defense and vice versa. One place that every coach will tell you is one of the main places where they win and lose games is special teams.
They cover real well. They're only giving up about 6 yards per return, so they're not giving up a lot. I think he's caused 20 fair catches, so he's eliminated the returner. I think he's done a nice job. They have two really good gunners. They're well coached. They got linebackers that can run on the inside. I mean, it's an AFC North Pittsburgh Steelers physical Coach Tomlin type team when you watch them.
All right, so the key thing for Carolina is pretty simple: run the ball, limit the turnovers, as in no turnovers. And if Carolina can finish this game with more time of possession, more plays, more first downs, they will win the game. And the key thing is, if they can this is what every special teams coach will tell you. If we can have no turnovers and we can get a special teams turnover and turn the field around, we can win the game. So it's a very important special teams. You can't win without good special teams. That's just a fact. So keep an eye on the special teams on Sunday afternoon. They could be that special teams could provide the game-winning play this week and every week. But this week, I really think this is going to come into play between Carolina and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And of course, ADSN will be there. We'll have you up to date all the way up including right up until game time from the field. So keep it here. ADSN1, log in, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you do. Wherever you see us, like us, follow us, because we're the next big thing.
Now, we know it's holiday season, and it's really a great time here in Charlotte. Let's take a look at how Derek Brown spreads that cheer.
First Christmas party with Mr. Derek Brown.
We did a shopping spree with them on the back-to-school shopping spree, and with the Boys and Girls Club in the summer. And I just fell in love with these kids, and just being able to just be with them and that little 2-hour period we have running around Dick. So I mean, that was probably the coolest thing I've done since I've opened my organization.
We base that off of behavior, club attendance, and academics. And for him to, stay in contact with us, and like he said, he loved this time of the year, giving. It showed that everything we said, he helped us reward those kids for their hard work.
This event is amazing. I moved here from High Point, so we didn't have quite as much opportunity for our children there as I'm finding here. And the kids they still talk about this long after they leave. When he was here this summer and they did the shopping spree, it wasn't even all the kids, but all the kids were telling me about it.
I love Christmas, and the one thing about it is being able to be successful, and being able to be financially in a place where you be able to give back. It's a special feeling. I know Christmas puts a lot of pressure on parents, to deliver. So we give them a list. It was like a wish list. They pick what they want. So then that's how it was kind of generalized into it.
He's so down to earth. When he talks to the kids, it's like a neighbor or a friend. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to him. So that's what our kids need.
That's the goal of all of this, just to be able to put a smile on these kids' face and be able to see them happy. Especially it's so nice for what the Boys and Girls Club is doing at this school and giving them an after-school program and things like that. A lot of schools don't have this ability to be able to do that, and for them to step in with the Salvation Army, to be able to partner with my foundation, and then also having Dunkin' Donuts out here to help, and just give the kids the streets and just make the environment fun. That's what it's all about.
We'll be back with more, including breaking down the Seahawks on the ADSN Pro Football Report. Stay with us.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Welcome back to the Carolina Pro Football Report on ADSN. Of course, one of our great shows is Chopping Up with Buck, every week now airing on Friday on ESPN Radio. Be sure to check out every engaging episode. You can also find it on our flagship site, adsn1.com. Now, the Steelers are a storied franchise. They've been great throughout the years, decades of greatness. We talk about all the Super Bowl wins and everything. Let's look at Spanish radio analyst Antonio Ramos for more on the Steelers.
What a meaningful game the Carolina Panthers have today against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just a game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The first place in the NFC South is open and Carolina controls their own destiny. And that starts today against the 5-8 Pittsburgh Steelers. They have struggled a lot at the quarterback position with both Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, who will likely start today because of Pickett's concussion. But this team is built to run the football with Najee Harris. Win first and second downs with short passes to the sidelines and minimize turnovers. That's what Mike Tomlin really needs right now to avoid his first ever losing season as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has 15 consecutive seasons with a winning record. If Pittsburgh loses today against Carolina, will be the first time Tomlin is under 500 in a season. It's hard to believe that wide receiver Deontay Johnson has 0 receiving touchdowns this season, but when you see this offensive line is number 20 in sacks allowed with 34, and neither of the quarterbacks have found clean pockets in 2022 to operate with and find either Johnson or rookie George Pickens, you can understand why this number is so low. On the other side of the football, I think Carolina needs to identify where Cam Hayward is aligned, where TJ Watt is aligned, and how close to the box Minkah Fitzpatrick is playing. Of course, we know Carolina will find a way to pound the ball, use your big maulers to open spaces for Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard with the running game. This Steelers defense allowed 215 yards on the ground last week against Baltimore. You need to double block Cam Hayward, or get to the second level to eliminate Devin Bush from the equation. That will be likely Carolina's combinations to win in the run blocking schemes today against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. As Steve Wilks said, protect the bank, keep Wilks' record at home undefeated, and you can still control your own destiny. If the Panthers win today and Tampa Bay loses to Cincinnati, Carolina will be the new number 1 seed in the NFC South.
Now we've got to look at the keys to the game. It's going to be very important for the Carolina Panthers to carry that momentum. They've got to play well on special teams. Sam Darnold on offense certainly has to protect the football and manage the game, and that rushing attack by the Carolina Panthers needs to click again this week. Now that's going to do it for the Carolina Pregame Pro Football Report here from Bank of America Stadium. Make sure to stay tuned to social media and get all the updates throughout the game, and we will definitely keep you going. Stay with us.
max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none left. Going till there ain't nothing. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none left.